I have a huge interest in anything camera related. When I saw this product, I couldn't resist. It retails for about $100 and I managed to pick it up during the Singles Day for about $60 and spent few weeks testing and using it. But what is it? Well, it's a device that you can mount on your tripod or on a flat surface and put your camera or phone on, and with the help of a small wide angle camera positioned just below the mount, it can track you, acting as your very own cameraman.
I am the cameraman.
So let's do the unboxing and see how it works and find out whether it's worth it or not. In the box you get the following: a USB-C cable, 2 brackets to mount the camera vertically, some screws and Allen key, a remote control with batteries included, an 18650 lithium-ion 3.7 volt battery for the main device, and the device itself. Now we'll break it down in the following order. We'll talk about the build quality and features, how to use it, pros and cons, and we'll wrap up with a conclusion. Build quality and features. It's made out of plastic, but it feels good. I wouldn't say absolutely premium, as you can feel sharp edges on the plastic. Funny enough, the remote feels a lot more premium, almost like it was built by a different factory and has a quality control sticker on it. The remote works on 2 AAA batteries, while the main device itself works on an 18650 type replaceable lithium-ion battery that comes included, with a capacity of about 2000 mAh. They said that it can work from 8 to 10 hours of continuous use, which is not accurate in my case, but it lasts long enough that you don't have to worry about it and you can use it while charging. The battery comes detached. To start using it, you place the battery in the battery compartment and switch the device on using the 3 switch positioned just below the camera. Middle is off, top is manual tracking, and the bottom is AI or auto tracking. It has a 360 degrees uncapped side-to-side movement, meaning it can make a full turn around itself and it can keep turning around for as long as you hold the button. Pan and tilt are about 50 degrees in movement. Although this may not sound like a lot, but it's enough to cover most situations. From the straight up position, you can move 25 degrees up and 25 degrees down. It supports a weight capacity of up to 2 kgs. This means you can have a lens, small light and a microphone and it will work just fine. It has a leveling indicator and a 1/4 inch screw hole at the bottom if you want to use it on a tripod. Next to the level indicator, it has a 2.5mm shutter release cable hole to take photos remotely. The cable is not included. And at the bottom, it has a rubber mat to stop it from moving when on a flat surface. Now let's talk about how to use it. Starting with the remote, it has a screen that reads the exact position of the device and should be paired or turned to the correct channel. For example, if you have it on channel 1, the device must also be on channel 1 for the combo to work. When you see the screen, it means that you are ready to operate. The remote goes to sleep after 5 minutes of no use and can be turned on by clicking on any button. Moving on to the device itself. There are 3 different modes that I could use reliably: manual mode, auto tracking, and A&B positions. Starting with manual mode. Manual mode is when you're using the remote control to control the device. You can move up, down, and side to side with a full 360 rotation. You can change the speed of the move independently for the pan and tilt and right and left. There are 8 levels of speeds to choose from. To use the manual mode, you flip the switch to the up position and match the profile or channel number on the device with the one on the remote and press the center button. On this mode, the screen on the device will be on. All you do is simply turn right and left or up and down. You can change the speed by using the button with the 3 lines and change the speed for horizontal or vertical movements. You have multiple profiles where you can change the speed of the movement and have each profile on a different speed. But you're required to change the channel on the device and can't change the profile using the remote only. Tracking mode. To use tracking mode, all you have to do is to flip the switch to the bottom position and you will see a green light turn on and starts blinking. This means that it's on and is trying to detect the face. Once it detects a face, it stops blinking and turns solid green, indicating that it's found a trackable face. If it loses the object, it starts blinking again and stops in that position until the face is detected again. On this mode, the device only moves side to side and does not support pan and tilt. To lock in position, you use the open palm hand gesture and the light will turn red. Use the OK sign with your hand to turn it back on. The combination of green, red, and blinking green give a nice, easy to detect signs on what the device is doing, even from a distance. Now, it's supposed to detect 2 faces, but we'll talk about that in the pros and cons. On this mode, the screen will be turned off. A&B position. Now, this can be done on the manual mode. Find the position you want the camera to be in and press and hold the button until it blinks in green. There are 2 buttons, so you can have them saved in 2 different positions. Then from the device, you click on the saved position, assuming that you're in a different position, and it will go back to the saved position. To do this using the remote, save the position using the device, and on the remote, click both the auto and A or B buttons at the same time. Although most people would probably be interested in tracking features, this can be incredibly handy in taking some complicated shots. Now, let's talk about pros and cons, beginning with the pros. It's easy to use. Just use the switch to change from off to manual or auto tracking and you're good to go. The auto tracking is ready out of the box. You don't need an app or adjust anything to start using it. And in my experience, it works really well. As long as you're in a well-lit condition and within an adequate distance, it never loses you. Even when it does, the moment you appear again in the field of view, it will start tracking again without pressing any buttons. Now let's talk about cons. Now it's supposed to track 2 faces, but I could never get it to do so. If I'm the one being tracked and I walked behind someone and stopped, the focus subject becomes the person whom I walked behind. So, forget trying to use it amongst a group and focusing on a specific person, as it will not work. The tracking works great when there's only one person in the frame. However, it only tracks subjects side to side and does not pan and tilt. You would think that using the remote would solve it, but no. On the tracking mode, the screen is off, and you must change to manual mode, adjust the pan or tilt, and then switch back to tracking mode. The light must be adequate. In other words, medium to well-lit areas are good for auto tracking and works reliably. In a dark environment, like a gaming setup, it struggles from time to time to detect my face. Since it has a flat bottom, you can set it up on a table and start using it. The issue is, the pan and tilt can be a problem if you're using a big lens. Although it's capable of handling the weight, it can easily tip over if it's not attached to a surface somehow. I set it up on top of my PC to follow me and it works fine when in auto tracking, as it only moves side to side. However, if I'm using the tilt and pan, I have to be careful not to move beyond a certain point to avoid crashing the camera. And last but not least, you can't move horizontally and vertically at the same time. If you press the buttons on the remote at the same time, it will just get confused for a second and then refuse to move in any direction. The only way to do it is to use the A&B presets. Overall, I think it's an interesting piece of equipment and it draws a smile from people when they see me use it. I can see it being useful in so many scenarios, like for someone who works in a shop and wants to film his action, or a streamer with 2 desks set up, or even in podcasting situations. Using the A/B position setup, you can achieve some complicated shots that you otherwise couldn't without a camera slider. Speaking of sliders, this can also be used with a camera slider to get even more complicated shots. It might require a few takes, but it can achieve some great results. Despite cons I previously mentioned, at $100, it can easily pay for itself in the value it provides if used properly. It's small and easy to store away and set up versus something like a camera slider, which is a lot bigger and difficult to carry everywhere. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me and I'll try my best to answer them. That's been it. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you in the next video.